Good evening. Welcome to Andrew High School. Thank you for joining us this evening for our freshman sophomore parent night. My name is Michelle View, and I am the Director of Guidance. I am so grateful for all of you to join us this evening. We have many of our school counselors here tonight to talk with you about many of the most frequently asked questions we have from our freshman and sophomore parents to hopefully give you the tools that you need to successfully partner with us and the information we talk and engage your students in with your at-home conversations. So you have in front of you a packet of information. That packet of information we will be following through as we go through the presentation. We took a little bit longer to get started. This presentation will be recorded, and we will be sending out the recording of the presentation along with the slide deck. So we hope that we give you all of the resources that you need so that you can refer back to them in the future. Okay. We're very excited tonight for the crew of school counselors we have here. It's been a very fun, exciting week for us as school counselors and school year. We had our career day last year that we're going to talk a little bit more about. Many of our members of our department have been winning different awards throughout the state for their accomplishments in school counseling because of their passion and dedication to each and every student. So we are excited to welcome you to kick off this evening, and we will also, after our presentation tonight, be in our upper commons to answer any specific questions you have about your students, and always welcome you to reach out to any of your school counselors, our intervention specialists, social workers, or college and career counselors for additional information. Okay. So without further ado, I will introduce Mr. Lauren Zolk. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate all of you guys coming tonight. Again, we're hoping to cover some things that frequently come up when we're meeting with freshman and sophomore students and parents, and looking forward to answering some individual questions for you guys when we wrap up here and we head over to the Commons. So the first thing that we want to address is just there's always a little bit of confusion when it comes to what our role is here. Each counselor has a little over 250 students. We get a lot of questions, and we get involved in a lot of things. And so just to clear up a little bit what our role is, there's a lot of people that assume that all we do is make schedules and talk to kids about classes. In reality, we are responsible for scheduling, but also we do help with social emotional support and post-secondary planning. So what we're doing after, that becomes a big part as we kind of progress through, and I'll touch on that a little bit as well. Another misconception is that we are mental health counselors and we are going to meet with students regularly and provide some type of therapy. That is not the case. We do have social workers here to help students get through their day, but in reality, school counselors, we are not therapists. However, we can provide resources to help if there's social emotional things going on with students. Another misconception is that school counselors can explain grades and what's going on in a class. It's been a long time since I took Math 1, so I can't really tell you what's going on in there. The reality is the best path to go is for you and your students to communicate with the teachers. They're more than happy to respond, but they do have 150 kids every day, 5 classes, so reaching out sometimes is difficult for them. So if you sense that there's an issue, please reach out to them. They should get back to you, okay? Let's talk a little bit about our agenda for tonight. We're going to talk about how you can help us support your student. We're going to answer hopefully answer one of these frequent questions, which is my student on track for graduation? We get that all the time. What courses should my student be taking if they have a certain path for after high school? And when is too early, or what should we be doing at this point to be planning for post-secondary. So the first thing that we want you all to know about is the various resources that you have access to. This would be, I believe, the second page of your handout. So we do have a website. It has a wealth of information in there about what we do, different resources, planning, course planning, graduation requirements, all kinds of stuff, as well as post-secondary information. Guidance Google Classroom. All of your students have a Google Classroom that's connected to us where we post stuff. So you also can potentially have access to that if you want to know what sort of things are going on here with guidance and your students. We also have school links. So for the freshmen, we just got them on this earlier in the semester. School Links is our platform that we use for four-year planning as well as post-secondary planning. There's a lot of different surveys and things like that, interest surveys and things like that we have the kids do, and then as we progress through into junior and senior year, we start to use it a lot for the actual planning of what are we doing. If we're looking at colleges, how can we investigate, what colleges have the major I'm interested in, how much is it going to cost, what's their acceptance rate, all kinds of stuff like that. You do have access to School Links. You have access to your kids' School Links. I went on my kids the other day to see what he put down for his goal for his after high school. It's interesting, and it gives you something to talk about. So the information on how to get into School Links, I think, is the second. No, it's one of the pages in there, but it's laid out for you how you can get into your kids' School Links and kind of see what they're up to in there. And then we also offer T-Bolt enrichments, various T-Bolt enrichments, T-Bolt time that the kids can sign up for, or that we may mandatorily sign them up for so that we can get information to them. Okay, so those are the various things that we're doing here to help out. We also have this amazing College and Career Center. Freshmen and sophomores typically don't really know where it is, but as they become juniors and seniors, they become very familiar with the College and Career Center. We do have a full-time college and career counselor, Ms. Kaiser, and she helps to organize a bunch of things that help with the planning for after high school, as well as just kind of exploration, trying to figure things out, right? So one of the things that we offer here is college and career representative visits. So they actually come here. So we have representatives from schools all over the country that will come here and talk to the kids about the school and provide information and talk to them about, what they might need to get in there and what they're going to do while they're there. So it's a great way to get that initial information and get face-to-face with the representatives, just to start exploring the idea of, is this a school that I want to consider going to, or is this a career field that I'm potentially interested in? The kids know how to sign up. They sign up through School Links for those visits. They kind of slow down at this point because we've done college applications. Most of them have been turned in already, but we had a college fair recently as well. Two actually during lunch periods down in the main south entrance. We had a bunch of schools and careers set up there where the kids during their lunch could kind of go through there. We do offer college and career field trips as well. So for those that are interested in a local school like Lewis or potentially Moraine Valley, places like that, UIC, we've done those before, where we actually take a group of kids there to do like a tour, like an official campus visit. And we do the same with trades and careers as well. So kids that are interested in going into welding or something like that, or pipe fitting, might get an opportunity to go visit those places and see what their day-to-day is like. It is important also to note, we're actually pretty proud of this. We'd like it to be more. 56% of our graduates attend a four-year college after graduation. 28% will attend Moraine Valley or JJC or a place like that. We are also always looking for first-gen students. So first-gen students would be students whose parents did not graduate from a university here in the United States. So if that's something that we have a Trailblazer group where we provide a little bit more kind of support for them in their post-secondary planning. So if that might be your kid, let's find out if they're on that list or not. And we encourage you, as always, to talk to your kids about, what are they doing in School Links? What have they gone to any career or college visits, college rep visits, and things like that? As freshmen and sophomores, it's not really on the forefront of their mind to do that, but definitely junior and senior year, we really start kind of pushing that a little bit. So begin talking to them now. Ask them what they put in for their career in School Links. What they think they might want to do at this point. It doesn't mean that's what they're necessarily going to do, but it sparks good conversation. So we encourage you to have those talks with your kids. We have some amazing social workers here. I mentioned them earlier. So they provide a little bit more of that kind of social emotional support for kids on the day-to-day to help them get through their day. Ms. Shrum, Ms. Sullivan, and Ms. Gearhan, they are attached to counselors. So whichever your counselor your kid has, that would be their social worker. They run a lot of groups. There's information on the groups towards the end of the packet. You can read a little bit about those groups. If you believe that your child might benefit from one of those, there's an opportunity to potentially, send us some information and see if it's a good fit for them. We also offer wellness enrichments during second hour for the social work. This is pretty popular. They do a lot of mindfulness things, rock painting. We bring in comfort dogs from time to time, which is probably the most popular thing that we do. Friendship bracelets, etc., things like that. So just to get their mind off of school for a little bit, do something different, work with their hands, be creative. Those are all things that the kids have seemed to really enjoy. The social workers are working on a video that they're going to push out to everybody just so they can kind of introduce themselves to you guys, talk a little bit about all the things that they offer. So the next thing, sorry about that, graduation requirements. So again, this is one of the top questions we get, is about graduation requirements. This information can be found on the website, but we don't always think to go right there. So this information is here. There's 4 important things to know for graduation. And these are things, this becomes kind of our primary role, or one of our primary roles as counselors, to monitor these things. But it does help if you're doing the same. So 21.5 credits are required for graduation. A full semester, 6 core classes or 6 classes, 8 periods, is 3 credits. So that's common, 3 credits per semester, so 6 at the end of the year. And you do the math, after 4 years, that should be above 21.5. I'll let Mr. Tadla cover the credits and stuff. He's a little better with the math. Another thing that we need to know is 25 hours of community service for the sophomore class, the current sophomore class, junior class, senior class. Our incoming freshmen and beyond are going to be 32 hours. We do have a community service office. It's around the corner from guidance. Ms. Pena is in there. She's awesome, and she provides constant information. I think we got a parent square today, didn't we, about community service opportunities. Start taking advantage of those, especially if your kids are potentially NHS kids. They need to have their 32 hours done prior to the beginning of their junior year. ACT is a graduation requirement. The requirement is to take it here with us. And that happens in the spring of their junior year. So freshmen and sophomores, freshmen took their first PACT earlier this semester. Sophomores as well, but sophomores, they've already done it. So what we're doing is we're kind of building a portal for test prep, right, with ACT. So the requirement is for them, for juniors, the actual graduation requirement is for juniors to take it with us. Now, speaking of ACT, and there's some more stuff on the slide. This is something that I'm learning through experience. ACT becomes very important, not just on getting into colleges of our choice, but it's also the better you score, the more money you might get in scholarship. So that's something that we don't often talk about, but I just want to put that out there. The other requirement, which you don't have to worry about at all right now, is FAFSA, and that is required to fill out, and it's senior year. So you don't have to do anything at this time with that, but just know that it's those 4 things: 21.5 credits, ACT junior year, community service, and FAFSA. Okay, so let's talk about testing. So I mentioned ACT. It's the school day one again that is required. It's a graduation requirement. Again, that ACT, we want to stress the importance. We've had a shift from SAT to ACT, and that was not by our choice. It just kind of happened to us, but we're doing the best with it. We want to stress the importance of the ACT. Again, it is something that where a few years ago, a lot of schools were test optional. It was like, we don't have to worry about it. What we're finding now is that schools are going back to requiring ACT scores, and especially with certain majors. So like your kid might be applying for an engineering school at a test optional place, but the College of Engineering requires the ACT score. So there's some nuances with it. In addition to that, as I mentioned before, the higher your ACT score is, the more possibility you could get merit scholarship money from the school itself. So they start taking off money from the tuition bill, and we all want to save money when we send our kids to college. So there is ACT test prep. I believe there may be a link in there somewhere, but there's various things that you can look into in terms of test prep. Typically that starts to happen maybe beginning of junior year, but something to think about. It's never too early to start. PACT, I mentioned, was administered in the fall and the spring. Take these exams seriously. We want to know where these kids are hitting, and it'll help you determine, do we need to do test prep or not, right? And then junior year, of course, the big one. With the ACT, by the way, because we do get this question a lot, you can retake it. If you do retake it, the kids will sign up to take it outside of Andrew. But they have to take it with us here, and then typically what they'll do is they'll not like their score, they want to get a higher score, so they'll take it in the summer, they maybe take it in the fall, their senior year as well. PSAT, NMSQT, this is essentially the SAT, it becomes the SAT, but the PSAT is offered to juniors, and it is what kids use to qualify for national merit. Okay, so those top kids will take it, will sign up and take the PSAT with us. And you'll get that information sent to you your junior year. The ASVAB is another option. That's a military entrance and career exploration exam. I offer that. I always offer it in the fall. Sophomores, juniors, and seniors can take it. I talk to the kids a little bit about what that test is and what they need to do in terms of scoring and things like that. Any questions on that, you can always email me. And then there's some links there for different test preps and things like that. So at this point, since you guys are probably done listening to me, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Tadla. This will be much more entertaining.
Let's have a round of applause for Mr. Zulk. All right, I'm gonna talk about some riveting things like math and some other things like that. So we're gonna start real quick here with credit check and transcripts, okay? So Mr. Zulk said we have so many graduation requirements. We'll talk about that. But as he said, 21 and a half, if you do the math like he said, you get 6 per year times 4. That's 24 credits if you're doing a normal load, okay? So most people get to the 21 and a half very easily. The only way you're going to not get the 21 and a half if you fail, and even if, I shouldn't say it, even if you fail, you got 2.5 credit kind of cushion. So that always panics parents, like 21 and a half credits, 21 and a half credits. If you just do what we ask you to do, you're going to make 24 credits without even doing 0 hour or anything else, all right? But the key to this is the credits. English, 4 credits. It's the only thing we require that you take every year. Here's the bottom line on English. You fail English any point in your time here, it's an automatic trip to summer school. I have kids, and I'm going to reference all the time I've been here. I've been here a long time. And the kids always look at me very strangely like, well, I'll just take it next year. You can't take it next year. You got, from freshman English, you got to pass freshman English to move on to sophomore English. You got to pass sophomore English to move on to junior English. So English is the only thing we offer for. You have to take that in PE. Well, not necessarily PE and health. So English is 4 credits. That is the key. We have lots of kids who don't understand that, and they don't start out very well in English, and then we're chasing. Math, you get a little bit of a break, 3 credits. Math 1, 2, and 3, okay? So, and then we're going to recommend senior year taking math. That's another fallacy. People coming home and say, I don't have to take math senior year. You have to take math senior year. I don't care where you're going. Taking a year off of math is not a smart thing. So math 1, 2, and 3, and taking something senior year, especially if you're going on to college, no matter what you're doing. The rest of it will get science, you need 2. That's pretty simple to get. Government, we're going to give you a half a credit sophomore year. U.S. history, you're going to get a credit automatically junior year. Then you just need a social studies elective. PE, actual PE, 3.5 credits. We're seeing a lot of kids failing PE. And now we're doubling them up, and when I started a long time ago, nobody was failing PE. No, you could, yeah, we got kids failing PE, okay? We can't have that because now we're going to have to double you up on PE, and that's going to take away something that you might want to take. Health, so for sophomores, you have to take health sophomore year. A couple fallacies, folks who are going to be next year, PE and health you can have in the same semester. So we have a lot of kids who say, oh my God, my schedule says PE and health in the same semester. You can have that sophomore year, okay? It doesn't matter. They're separate classes tied differently, and for scheduling purposes, it works. And then consumer economics or consumer education, people say, what's consumer education? 0.5 credit. You can make that either through personal finance, consumer economics, any of our economics classes, AP Micro, AP Macro, or regular economics. So that's getting to 21 and a half credits. We program pretty much through. Your students just come sign up for whatever. We're going to get you programmed to 21 and a half, okay? It's, again, when you make a misstep that it becomes problematic because we have to have the sequencing. Math 1 for Math 2 to Math 3, English on and forth. GPA, I could really bore you with a really nice 20-minute thing on how to compute GPA, but it is important to establish a strong GPA now. Freshman parents, okay, and sophomores too. It is very, very difficult with the math. I'm not going to go through the math, but for starting out strong, we have kids who say, well, I got that 2.7 freshman year. I'll bump that up. I'll work junior and senior. It is very, very difficult. The math is very, very difficult to jump that GPA up a half a point in a year. It's difficult, okay? With that, in our grading system, you get more points for A plus. A B plus ranks more than a B. A B minus ranks less. So those kids are on the border and you're in between a B and a B plus, there's extra points jumped for the B plus. So push for the B plus, A to A plus. Then going conversely, C down to C minus, you lose points that way. So the GPA game is there, but it is very important for this group to understand. We tell the freshmen, and I've been here a long time again, I've said that 3 times already. The seniors have come back to me, and the ones who kind of struggle said, Mr. Taylor, that first time in advisory when you came on stage and told us the importance of GPA, I wish I would have paid attention to that a little bit more, because it is very, very difficult. Also, when you're applying for college, your GPA and your transcript ends after the 6th semester. Okay, so senior year is important for what you're taking, but as for admissions, we're done. We're done with our seniors. We've sent all their transcripts out, and we're only 11 weeks into the school year. So your GPA stops after the 6th semester. Oh, it says it right there, okay? The more classes you take, the less impact each grade will have on your GPA, obviously, but for this group, if you have a student right now that is maybe below where you want them to be, we got to get them to pump it up, or her to pump it up, because it's very hard to chase. Super, super hard to chase when you start the GPA that way. The transcript's pretty simple. There's instructions in your packet how to find your student's transcript. It's very easy in Skyward. You can keep track, just like you can keep track with their grades, but their transcript is very, very simple, okay? And that's how it looks. And in your packet, you can find out how to get the transcript. But the GPA, I don't want to scare everyone like I scared a freshman, but the GPA is important. And it's a very complicated math. And the kid's like, well, I'll just get A's all my senior year. I'm like, well, that's good, but you're going 3 credits against 18 credits, okay? When you're comparing that rationally or pro-rationally, that doesn't make sense, all right? So we have to get them started out strong, all right? This is in your packet. We came in also, the 4-year planning guide, okay? So this is important for freshman parents to sophomore. This year, your students are going to be responsible, we'll talk about it, for registration, okay? It's no longer where we called you in February on the Zoom and it was awkward. Everybody was around the kitchen table and you're talking to somebody on the screen picking classes. That's no longer how registration works now. The kids are going to be responsible for coming in, and we'll talk about it. But we'd like to have them to have this plan, and we've gone into the advisories and given them both of these, okay? It's also on, like Mr. Zolk said, everything is on the Google Guidance Classroom. If you're a senior parent, there's tons and tons and tons. It's like a dossier of information that's on there from freshman year. So if you're looking for some information, go to that as well. So this was in there. We're not going to get too deep into it, but you have this plan, and for sophomores, we kind of fill in what you need to take, and then where the spaces are, that's the elective choices. Okay? For juniors, it kind of, we're going to still get you an American Lit, Math 3, U.S. History, PE lunch, and that, but you're going to start getting choices, and we'll talk about that a little later. But everybody should have this 4-year plan, and we pass this out. On the other side is all the classes that are available for sophomores and juniors, all right? So I would take a look at that because we're coming up to registration right now. Course selection, okay? Did I skip something? Yeah, oh, here we go. Yes, course selection tips. These are 2 of the biggest things we put up here. And you would be surprised on this one on the left. In my years of here, the biggest question I get from freshman to sophomore year, and the biggest confusion I get is this thing on the left side here, driver's ed. Driver's ed, we get the most questions about from sophomore parents. Okay, first, it is not a requirement for graduation. Okay, you do not need it. Second, it does not count as a PE class. Driver's ed, if you take it here, is an elective. Okay, there's a state qualifier, you must pass 8 academic classes in the 2 previous semesters to be eligible. So we have a lot of kids who don't do very well freshman year and they want to take driver's ed. We said, you can't do it because you didn't make this threshold. If you want to take driver's ed, you must request it at registration, okay? So we have a lot of them, I didn't know I had to request it. Driver's ed fills up quickly. It's a class that fills up the fastest of anything, okay? And now these 2 things, we'll go down to the bottom. You can take summer driver's ed, and this will be something that's a buzz with the sophomore parents, and information's gonna go out starting December 1st. I'm gonna tell you something. When they say the driver's ed opens up online on whatever date, January 18th, this goes literally faster than Taylor Swift tickets. I'm dead serious. I think it closed last time in 24 minutes last year. So if it's an 8 o'clock start, those 90 and 120 spots are sucked up by 8:26. So when you get this December 1st, and you want to keep your family happy and your household happy and your children happy, make sure you know when this registration occurs for summer driver's ed. That is really true. It goes that fast. I'm not trying to be funny. Here's another one, and it's a personal story I always tell the children. Placement in semester 1 or 2 is based on birthday, okay? So I have the kids who come crying in my office that they got to have it semester 1. I can't do anything about it. That needed to be done 16 years ago. That, when your birthday is. Like, I can't do, sorry. And I tell them my own personal story. I am November. And I've heard in the years I've been there, I've heard every story why I needed driver's ed. I'm November 16th. I just had a birthday, Saturday, or Sunday it was actually. And I say I was November 16th. So do the math here. Why all my friends are tooling along and driving along, I'm jumping into junior year of high school without a license, okay? And I lived. I survived. I'm a good driver. I made it through life that, because my buddy John Lacanata had it in August, I made it. I made it through life. So if you're late in the alphabet, do not call us and say, yeah, the cutoff is June 1st, but we're June 2nd. Sorry, because it'll be June 2nd, June 3rd, June 4th, 5th. And especially if you call me, you're going to hear this story again about how I didn't get to start driving until Christmas of my junior year. And it was, and I lived through it. Okay? So please take that seriously. Driver's ed is big. Sophomore to junior year, we talked a little bit about it. The transcript ends after the 6th semester. That's why we say it's an important year, because it ends the transcript. That's the end of it for colleges. And then some other thing, we always have the world language issue. Do I move on to language 3 and 4? Do I take 1 and 2? That's another one. I can go on 7 chapters about that. That's going to be a personal thing. Where are you going to school? What is going to be your major? Do you need, it's not a graduation requirement. Let's throw that out. World language it's not a graduation requirement. It could be made through world language or any of our other elective classes. But if you're going to U of I and being an engineering major or business major, you probably need to have 4 years of language because they look at that on the application. So that's one of the bigger things, junior, freshman. I'm telling you, you're in here, you're a freshman, sophomore, take that driver's ed information to heart here, because there's a lot of crying in my office about that, okay? Course selection, that's coming up. So explore your course options. Students will be given a big course selection card and a worksheet in December. We work very hard. My boss works very hard putting this all together, and we painstakingly talk to the students. We've already been starting to talk to them. When that information comes up, please sit down with your child and fill out the classes so everybody knows what everybody wants to take. We're going to be giving those worksheets out. We give you Christmas break, and then we start registering second week of January, and depend where you're at, second, third, fourth week of January is when they'll meet with us, okay? Parents are responsible for reviewing the course and completing the worksheet. You need to sign it. We've had different I used to be this, I'll be Johnny tough guy, and you didn't sign this, get out of my office, and then it's like, well, then they get out of my office and they never come back. Like, where did they go with the sheet? So please have it signed so we know you took a look at the worksheet and you read on the back there's a lot of rules. The back of the sheet has a lot of things that we want you to know. Again, I don't have 9 hours to discuss that, but please take a look at that. We'll have individual meetings. I said that in January. Parents will not be at the meeting. You had your chance at that awkward meeting around the kitchen table. That was it. I can't have, we got one more of those, right? Yeah, in February, So you will not be here, but please have your student prepared. And really, you don't have to sit like the Magna Carta. This is a half an hour, 45 minutes. Take a look at the classes, fill it out, and let's roll and get into the office, all right? Oh, boy. Okay, teacher recommendations. All right, sorry, I'm going to try to be as quick as I can. Teachers should recommend what the next, this is another thing we get. Well, where are we going in the next level? We're in Honors Math 2. What's going to be the next move? Well, the teacher's going to decide that. They're going to give a recommendation, Honors Math 3, Academic Math 3, AP Lit, Sophomore English. Have your children understand before they leave for break, what did your teacher say your recommendation is going to be for math? They might look at you like they look at me like, okay, well, there's a recommendation. If not, you can check it on Skyward. You call the teacher, but they need to know what level they're moving to. You know what I'm saying? So if you're in Math 1 academic now, where are you moving next semester, next year? Science, are you moving to honors? English, AP, this is where we get caught because then we're trying to referee with the teachers and the teachers are mad at us. What are you saying? Blah, blah. It's very simple. Make sure they know what their recommendations are. Here, it could be found in Skyward on December 10th. So if the driver's ed doesn't cause a family argument, the recommendations might on December 10th, okay? But please clear that up before we go to break. Okay, it's very difficult January to do that. Does they get mad? Look at this underline. We have to schedule based on teacher recommendations. I can't make a wild west call like, well, I don't care what the teachers say. You should be in X, Y, and Z. No, I'm going to go exactly what the teachers recommend. So please take a look at that as well. Sorry. Real quick, career exploration. We visited the classrooms and we did this. Like Mr. Zolk said, some of this stuff is on School Links. We already went through some of this stuff. They've been exploring their career pathways, post-secondary options, and things. We went through this. They should have this sheet. It is also on the guidance Google Classroom. Real quick, we call them pathway requirements. We have graduation requirements, but the colleges think a little bit differently. They want a little bit more. So there's a difference between graduation requirements and maybe what a potential college would want. This has been tried and true over the time I've been here. 4 years of English, definitely 3 to 4 years of math. Again, I'm going to stress that. Every senior should take math. 3 years of social studies, 3 years of science, 2 years of world language. Again, it's not a requirement, but if you're going to go to school and you take 2 years of world language, it's going to cover you for most of the schools that we send our students to. And as it says, requirements will vary depending on the university. Research the admissions criteria for each school via the School Links or the university website. 2-year community if you're going to Moraine or JUCO or COD, high school diploma, and then you have to take a placement test or equivalent on the ACT or SAT in math and English to keep you out of placement testing. So this is requirements above what we're asking for you to be successful in your college admission search. Trades, we're trying to push trades, military. Trades have changed. Mr. Malik and I and Ms. McGeehan, we meet with a lot of tradespeople, and they want smart people, okay? So when I get the guy who said, I don't need this, I'm going into trades. I'm like, well, yeah, you got to get better than D's and C's. That's a 1980s really, really bad stereotype. Okay, these trades, guys, we were just there Friday at Moraine, and they said we need good grades, we need good ACT scores, we need good aptitude, we need you to be on time, we need you to be ditching the phone, like they mean business when it comes to this stuff on the left side, okay? Same with the military. They're not going to mess around. Just talk this up. You got to pass the ASVAB, meet with a recruiter, and you need a high school diploma. So if you're in the bucket of the trades in the military, your grades and ACT do matter. Real quick, financial planning. Look, we're putting money and money's falling out of the sky, okay? A couple quick things. Dual credit. If you don't know what dual credit is, it's a class, you can take a dual credit class, and most of it's through Moraine, and if you pass the class, you get credit for Moraine, okay? So on our sheet, there will be a list of, it'll say DC, what are dual credit type classes. So if you take a dual credit class, you meet the criteria, you pay and do everything the teacher says, you will get Moraine credit. We have current freshmen who are probably sitting in dual credit classes right now, potentially earning 3 credits towards Moraine. And as you move up the ladder, certain classes have dual credit designation, all right? AP, same thing. You score well enough on an AP test, they'll take credit for a class, depending on where you're going to school. But if you score 3 or higher, all Illinois institutions are supposed to take that for some kind of credit. Let me say one real quick thing. 6:48, okay, I'm over by a minute so far. All right, but I'll be quick. AP Government for sophomores. AP Government is now dual credit. So you have the option of either taking it dual credit or taking it through the AP test, okay? And what we're finding is, before it went dual credit, everyone was taking the AP test. Now everybody is on, and I'm not saying this, but they're saying we're thinking it's easier, not easier, we'll take our chances with getting a C or higher in the AP Government class than trying to score a 4 or 5 on the AP test. So we get a lot of questions about that, like we're dually enrolled and we're taking the AP test and we're taking dual credit. We suggest you do one or the other, okay, on that. And scholarships, as like Mr. Zolk said, the better you do, the better GPA, the better ACT score, scholarship would be available. But that will be coming a little bit later for these students here. Real quick, a plug for this. Yeah, I am 1 minute over. All right, students of VJ Scholarship Fund. If you want to, we have all this fashionable, I should bring Mr. Malik up. He's a good-looking guy. He could model this if we had time. We have very good stuff. If you can, make a donation or hit this QR code. You want to buy something for the scholarship fund. It helps our students when they graduate. Last thing here, and I'm out of time, additional resources, PACE framework, college and career readiness. This is all on the program post-secondary timeline, our VGA guidance web page, and the course selection guide. If you really, really want to dig into 180 pages of what every class is in this district, have at it. It's a good read, maybe. All right. So I am 2 minutes over my time, and my boss is here saying get off the stage. So thank you very much, and I'm glad no one's asleep. Right? That I keep everybody awake. There we go. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us. Just a couple reminders that I want to give to you. That packet of information is very important information. So put it on your fridge. Keep it for when you have extra time. We know the first priority is usually talking about the courses your students are currently taking, but all of this information is important as you start planning for the future, and planning for the future starts now. Those resources, anytime our counselors are meeting with your students every grade level, at least 2 full class periods, first semester and second semester, and engaging basically in lessons to help your student explore and start preparing and planning for their future. When they have those lessons, they'll push out the information to you with some talking points about conversations you can have with your students. I know I have those conversations and my students don't answer me at all. My kids at home, they say nothing to me. But when I go into their Google Classroom and take a look at it, then I get some more feedback from them. School Links is something that your students will use a ton when they're seniors, but you can start using it now. And there's information in there on how you can create your own account. So if your students say, I'm not giving my password, leave me alone, you can create your own account and start playing around in there and seeing what your students are doing and have them start building resumes. A lot of the information we share are good things to take a look at over breaks, and they're great things to look at over summer. So when our counselors are talking about test prep and taking the ACT seriously, your students are freshmen and sophomore, over the summer, you're receiving all of those test scores home. You can start having your students kind of, to avoid that summer slump, maybe do some ACT prep questions. It's all free resources, and those are available on our guidance webpage. So we are definitely here to partner with you. We know it's a lot of information, but we appreciate and value you being here tonight, joining with us. Our counselors are going to be available in the comments if you have any questions, and thank you and have a wonderful holiday and end of the semester.